Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Oh,
the Moon
woo!
Scarab channel.
Oh
Close
my
up.
goodness. Yeah,
Welcome
close
to the
up.
Moon. Welcome to the Moon Scarab channel, and I am honored today to share this show with someone who's really special to me.
Oh my
Of
goodness.
course, you are. I mean, and I've been to the show, your show, a couple times.
A
Everybody's
couple.
been to your show.
Just a
That's a
couple.
nice. That's a nice way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've been to your show several times, and I'm always honored to share space with you.
Oh,
Everybody here in
thank
the
you. Ramon,
community,
the same.
this is Heather
I'm honored.
from Indigo Jaguar with Intuitive Arts, right?
That
Did I
was the
get that
old
right?
one. Indigo Jaguar and Two of Arts was the
No,
old
Soul
channel.
Alchemy
Yeah, I switched it
with
with Indigo Jaguar.
with Indigo Jaguar.
People keep
Yeah,
saying, Heather, just shorten the name to Indigo Jaguar, but I don't know. I kind of like that Soul Alchemy in there.
I think everybody identifies with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
So
that's it. Let's see.
it's all good.
Mhm. So yes, everybody. We're gonna be sharing space today with Heather, and let's say hi to a few people who are here.
Yes.
We have Nancy from a
Hi,
Crohn's
Nancy.
Intuition. Hello, Nancy. We have Aries Girl. Hello,
Hey, girl.
Aries.
Hey.
We have, let's see
There
who else.
we go.
Tarot Stash.
Hey, Gerald.
Gerald, how are you? We have, of course, Tom. Tom had to be here, right? He has some.
Yeah, it's an inside joke, Gerald. Today when Tom came in, Ramon suddenly disappeared, and he's like, "Oh no, I scared Ramon off," and so it was vice versa. He came in, and we weren't starting, so it was just a little fun inside joke. That's all.
Yes. So we have
Yeah.
Kristen. Hello, Kristen. Nice
Hi,
to see you.
Kristen. How'd
And
you
we
do?
had the fabulous and unique Miss Tarot D. Oh,
Dee.
Miss Tarot D. The show is not the same if you're not here. Definitely.
She gives good face, right? Like what Heather
Right?
would say. Yep.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, this is an opportunity to chat with you. It's, I'm pretty sure it feels totally different to be on the other side, not
Hmm.
being the one who's running the show.
It's a nice
Um,
break.
right? Much more relaxing. We had
Mm.
some more people popping
I don't know.
in.
I'm a little nervous tonight.
No, no, it shouldn't be. You're a natural. I mean, hello.
I've been on the stage in high school, but I've been on the stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, we're broadcasting on my channel only tonight. So there's people in my channel who possibly have never been to yours.
Hmm.
So tell us about Heather. Who are
Wow.
you? How did you get to this community?
Wow. Uh, 20s, I was getting out of high school and getting into college. And when I got into college, it was a whole new world, that opened up to me. And I discovered different forms of spirituality, religions. It was just a changer for me because most of the time all the time I've been in school, it was a very and having a single parent and moving a lot. It was a difficult childhood, even into my late teens, early 20s when I was able to graduate from high school and to kind of do a little backstep. So it was in my teens, 14, 15, where I started writing poetry and listening to music. And a lot of people know on my channel, music and poetry um, was a big part of my life, still is. And so that's carried over into my channel. So that's one of the things I brought into my channel recently.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into college, I started learning about Wicca and paganism, and I was already starting to like feel disconnected from the church. I was raised Catholic, and
Mm-hmm.
there's still a few things I still hold dear, from my Catholic upbringing. I've had some people say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Don't be sorry. It gave me a sense of a higher power. It gave me a set of morals. It gave me kind of like a starting point, and I was able
Mm-hmm.
to explore that getting into my 20s, into high school, and meeting different people with different thoughts, different cultures, different perspectives. And so for me, my 20s and my college years were just amazing. And I learned about tarot and spirituality and ritual, all of that. It was just a whole new world opened up to me. And to actually start, though, one of my fun stories, I've shared this a couple times, but I just love the story. I was in high school, and my one teacher knew how much I loved to write and knew I wrote poetry a little bit, and I was good at English class. And I had a fellow classmate who, you know, I ended up falling in love with in high school. It wasn't returned, but it's still beautiful memories. We were
It's
asked.
happened to all of us
His
at
name was
some point
John.
or another.
And what was amazing is he wanted to write poetry. And I'm like, a guy writing poetry? And so we were asked, would you like to go? There's a local poet that's come to, I went to Lafayette High School in Buffalo, New York. And would you like to go to poetry class? And I'm like, sure. Well, workshop. And John was like, yeah, I'll go. So we were both excited. We went. And it was just, I don't know if they knew that she brought in tarot cards, but she had a deck of the Thoth tarot
Mm.
cards. And that was my first. She was like, have you ever seen this? I'm like, no. So that was the first time I actually really, I think, got to see a tarot deck, because when my mom had a friend who was um, a reader when I was around my 14 or 15 before this, she used playing cards to do her readings. And she
Mm.
was a medium and stuff. So I never really saw, I didn't really know what was what with tarot. And so she pulled out the Toff deck, and we were told to pick a card that we resonated with and to write a poem. And of course, I picked the High Priestess. I thought she was so cool. And so that's how I got, that was my first, into tarot. And now I'm being inspired all these years later to start writing tarot again based on tarot cards. So it's kind of come full circle. And it's interesting because the last couple of days I've been pulling individual daily cards for myself, and not
Hmm.
today but the day before, yesterday and the day before, I had pulled the world twice in a row. And for me that was like, wow, things coming full circle for me. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
um
So besides poetry, how then art in
Art.
painting in your case came to
Hmm.
be? I mean, was that part also during that time when you were
Hmm.
at
thank
school,
thank goodness I
college?
found it. Thank goodness I found it, because it was rough living with a single parent and kind of being the one in the middle, and her moving us every year, sometimes twice a year. And so constantly being exposed to certain things, volatile situations later on with, and not like weapon volatile, but just, when she would have an, other relationship, it was just kind of rough. And so for me, my poetry, my music, my art became my center focus, became my lifeline, you know. And so when I graduated from high school with my art degree, my art diploma, um, I decided to take a year off. I was told that if I wanted to pursue art in college, it would have to be as a teacher, because artists can't make a living doing art. And so I ended up signing up for art education, but then I had to take studios. And I always loved painting. I started loving it in high school, especially my last couple of years. And then I just fell in love with the medium. It was just like I found something that, and then I learned, I was studying about, just before I graduated from high school and going into college, I had learning about Georgia O'Keeffe,
Hmm.
and learned about her, and then all these other artists. And it was just like another world open to me. Oh, bye, Allison. Um,
She's been
so,
gone for a long time.
oh, she has. Oh,
She left
okay.
already. Yeah.
I just looked down and saw bye under bye, Allison. So yeah. And when I got so starting in my 20s, I picked up later on, I picked up some cards. And but I had a hard time reading them, because back then in the late 80s, early 90s, there were only really a few books.
Hmm.
And they said, well, if you're going to read tarot, you have to learn all the cards, upright, reversals, the positives, the negatives, the neutrals, and for me to retain that. So it was very daunting for me. So I would only read occasionally, grab a book for a friend or my mother or somebody who was okay with me doing a reading, and that was it. I just kind of got a deck here and there. In
Mm-hmm.
my 30s, I got more into oh, okay,
She's still here.
she's still here, and so in my 30s, going to Arizona, I ended up yes, mm-hmm,
So
yeah,
Miss Tarody says the arts are
yeah,
such lifelines for so many experiencing trauma in their lives. It's a shame that it's one of the first classes to be cut off from schools. Yeah, that is a
including
pity.
music. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Yeah.
I was in high school, I loving music. I didn't have a good enough voice um, for leading roles in our musicals, but I got to my last 2 years. I got to be in Maine and in Chicago as dancers as a dancer choir, part of the chorus, and loved it. And I had learned flute when I was younger, and when I was in high school, I got back into playing it. But I wanted to learn drums. I wanted to be a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Mm.
told no. Girls don't play drums. The guys are going to play it here. You play the flute. And so
Interesting.
it was after I got out of high school that got some pillows, practice on the pillows, listen to music, got my little practice pad, and eventually I got a drum set. I haven't had it since '97 when I had to give it up. But so no, music is always, that's why the arts is so important for our schools and for kids to
Yeah,
have it.
definitely.
I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't imagine being a kid in these days and this yeah in these times with everything going on and having no art. I mean, when I was in high school, art was the least funded, and my last year, the teacher had to spend her own money to get us, some of us who were serious, decent paint. Otherwise, they were like, "Here, have some tempera poster paint."
Mm.
There was just like really nothing there, for the budgets and things. So
Yeah.
I was lucky. I was blessed.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's transformed in certain ways because now, I mean, kids are much more, they have access to other forms of technology, right?
Hmm.
iPads, and a lot of them I've seen they're really talented with drawing digitally, you know.
Hmm. I
And
have a
I
friend who's
think
good
it,
at that.
mhm,
Hmm.
yeah. So I think it's changed a lot in terms of the mediums being used. Of course,
Hmm.
the traditional one paints, different types of paints, but I think digital art, if I mean it's, and that's something we'll touch on,
Oh yeah.
if AI and digital art, and
Hmm.
how is the concept of art versus the traditional ones.
Hmm.
But I do think there's outlet nowadays for kids or youngsters, and it's just different ways of expressing,
Yeah, but a lot of the
right?
schools are losing
But
their arts
yes,
programs and
no, no,
stuff.
no, yeah, 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 definitely. I think it starts in school, right? That's where the seed for the development of arts definitely should start. So going back into your practice, into your journey into divination.
Hmm.
So you had that first exposure with cartomancy, someone who
Yeah.
you had that first experience with it. Um, looking back, how much do you think that impacted in your journey practicing divination nowadays?
Well, it let me know it was out there. It was something that I enjoyed, being an artist, seeing a few decks. I mean, back then there was
Hmm.
just a few decks on the market, nothing like it is today. And so when I ended up moving to Arizona and up into Flagstaff, um, I started, there was a store in town called Crystal Magic, and you can get your sage and your, there was another one called Sacred Rites. I think he's still open. And just, he had everything for every spirituality, religion. And I was a part of a group called Witchy Wednesday, and we would get together and talk about mediumship, divination, ritual, God, goddess, the whole metaphysical, community. And my later years, last three years there, I learned about crystals. Started getting into crystals, and I took Reiki Healing 1 and 2. So I'm attuned to Reiki 1 and 2. Because I wanted to learn the crystals, I had to do the Reiki 1 and 2 with in Sedona, And so I followed that with crystal Reiki 1 and 2. And then I did a Reiki drumming, before I left. So things started opening up and I started exploring more. And then when I had to move back here, my health deteriorated. Things fell apart. Things didn't work out. We had left Arizona to go to New Hampshire, but something fell apart. So something very personal with a friend of
Mhm.
mine, and Shannon and I had to leave New Hampshire and come to New York. And so life was very difficult. So I lost my spirituality for quite a few years. I just felt like everything that I thought I had been practicing and following and believing was just all falling apart. And I found, unfortunately, that people who were part of my Reiki circle in Arizona, I discovered it was more like that toxic positivity where when I kept reaching out to certain individuals, telling them this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's happening to me. I don't understand. I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. And they're like, well, then you must be doing something wrong. You're not, so it was all my fault, me not being positive
Mhm.
enough or what. So for me, it was just, I shut down for quite a few years. I still had my crystals I would love to pull out and look at, and my cards every now and then. But it really wasn't until, well, 2018, I had a little bit of a relapse. As people know, I have a mental health diagnosis. So I had a couple lapses where I had to go back into the hospital and have to have my medications adjusted. And coming out of that, I had a really good support system in place. And of course, we all had lockdown. And so lockdown really opened up and everything, of course, with the political stuff going on in the country. I came across, tarot on YouTube. I'm like, what? In politics. And I started watching that. And then I started realizing that now there were more, there were other ways besides that strict dictatorship of, this is how you have to read tarot, that it could be read intuitively. So I
Mhm.
grabbed myself a set of Lenormands. I didn't know what Lenormands were, and I thought the art was beautiful, very Victorian like style. And I grabbed this deck, and in some of the channels that I was watching, I started pulling cards along with the questions they were asking, with the politics. I was very interested at that time, but with the last few years, it's just been no, things just really aren't changing. I don't like the energy, and I've just refocused my direction into a new way. And I was inspired by others, doing their channels. And there was a show called Nasty Women. It was
Nasty women.
Lisa and Sharon from Strawberry Rhubarb Tarot. Lisa
Mhm.
Spirit Intuitive. It was fun. We all get together, we hang out and chat, and then little by little, they were like, "Hey, and you guys want to come and hang out with us?" And I got invited. Sherry H, Voices from the Swamp, she got invited, and it was just kind of like, maybe we should start our own channels. And so, yeah, it'll be 3 years November that I started my
For
channel.
years.
hmm
Wow.
And it's evolved. I started out as Indigo Chrysalis because
Mhm.
Butterfly Woman was part of my spirituality, and I mean, I still love butterflies. They're very powerful for me. But it was time to leave that cocoon, you know.
Mhm.
And I came into Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts, and I was that name for quite some time. And just this past couple months ago, I think around January, February, I just felt like the word alchemy kept coming up, and I started getting interested in color alchemy, my art being intuitive, and I wanted this year to be a year of authenticity for me. That was my word, and I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that my channel really started reflecting who I am and how it made me happy, not trying to fit into other circles that were in our community. Not everybody resonates, not everybody reads the same way or the same topics. And so I've gone through a couple circles in different groups, and it just seems like since I've been more focused now on being more authentic and wanting to do my channel from my creative self, um, I started having new people coming in, like Jeff with my poetry and Ramon
Mhm.
joining me. I've been doing the color, like Ramon joined with me today. We've been doing divine design, talking about art and tarot because I love art. We both have appreciation for art. So, and Miss Nancy has been helping me bring back the divine feminine on my
Mm-hmm.
channel, and that's one of our popular shows. So, I absolutely love the energy that Nancy brings, her wisdom, her sincerity. So, I've also gotten into investigative tarot. I know some people say, "Well, what's the difference between the icky energy from a cold case or a murder case as compared to political?" For me, it's I'm actually trying to help a family or maybe give a victim a voice into finding out what happened to somebody, and looking at cases that way. So, what I do them, that's where the focus is. And Jackie's Crystal Moon has been joining me
Mm-hmm.
on that journey this year. So um, just changes, and I just go with the flow, and my reading's gotten better, and I'm trusting more in my intuition, and I just have a lot of support. And what I just want to say really quick, and I'll be quiet for a second so you can talk.
No, this is your show.
Um,
You talk as much as you want and whatever
is
you want.
that what I really love is, yes, I'm finally up over 900, and but for me, I really don't see a lot of those people, but the people I do see in chat are the ones that bring me joy, because when people come into my chat, they're respectful of me, my guest, each other. We support each other, we encourage each other, we empower each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's really about quality over quantity. And I really treasure those people that come in that make my face light up when I see them pop in, like you, Miss Taro D, Tom, Allison, Nancy. These are the people, Amanda, Empress, So
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that continue to support me. Flowing, she comes into my chat a lot. And I'm not trying to, oh, and there she is right there. So a lot of people who, continue to support me, and you could feel
Mm-hmm.
that energy, that respect. And so when I do a show, it's good, and they help me improve my reading ability, my connection to spirit, and my trust in my intuitive abilities, and and we learn from each other. And that's what I love about chat too, because I like to make sure that I try to engage my chat as much as possible, because they have a lot to offer too as well. Especially in what we're doing a lot more on my channel is, like Allison and I, we like to do readings on Fridays. We've been doing it for over a year now, our Friday show. But lately, her and I have been like really getting engaging with our chat and having conversations about things in life, whether it's metaphysical, paranormal, things that we see that go on in the community that we kind of want to open and talk about, always respectful. And the same thing with Jeff and Tom and I. We get together on Saturday nights and sometimes talk openly about topics that not everybody's going to agree on in our community, but we just want to make sure that we open up a safe space for us all to share and to express our thoughts and our feelings and our ideas. And to me, that's what creates community. You know, um, and fosters, you know, learning, acceptance. So, um, yeah, me. Sometimes when I
Yeah.
start talking, I go off on a tangent. So you have to say, Heather, bring it in, reel it in. So
Let's go back.
yeah.
No, no, no. So one of the things I like about your channel is that you explore so many topics related with tarot. So you use tarot for in different focuses,
Mm-hmm.
like uh poetry, for example, the divine feminine, colors. Like that's a show, like, and I've seen a lot of your videos, but I didn't know you have that show or like that series.
Mm-hmm.
And today we did one on red, and it was like so
Yes.
interesting.
Oh, we had a
The spiritual,
blast.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
Yes,
fun.
Ramon brought a whole presentation for us. It was he was like, and I got pictures, so it was fun. It was very. I mean, we even learned a few things from people in chat as well. So
Yeah.
again, we all learn
Hmm.
from each other. Hmm.
Definitely. It all goes around, tarot, divination. So my next question is, I know you practice tarot. I know you do Lenormand as well. Are there other divination tools that you use in your spiritual practice?
My oracle cards. I love my oracle cards.
Oracles? Uh-huh.
For me, oracle's more easier for me because I'm more of an intuitive reader, whereas tarot is strict. I mean, it's, I won't say it's strict, but it's more specific. It's more focused. You really need to understand what the suits represent. You have to have a really good grounding, um, understanding of tarot. So for me, there are some, and for, well, lately, like I said, my tarot reading's gotten better. I do still resort to to booklets, because each deck that I get, the author brings something different to the meaning of the cards. Like my Hush Tarot, Jeremy is such an incredible, has incredible insight. I love how he connects the imagery on the cards, even though they're not traditional tarot, like the suits and all. They're still, it gives it another layer, which helps me. Hi, Karen. Um,
Thank you, Karen.
it gives me like another layer, another other ways of tapping into my intuition. Um, I got the artist decoded. My first real, I mean, I had an AI deck that I didn't know was an AI deck that I don't use, but this was my first AI inspired tarot deck that I fell in love with. I've got one that's more pip, which it fascinates me. And my crystals, I have my crystals. I have my crystal cards. And when I was living in Arizona and I was working at Crystal Magic, I ended up becoming a part of, the not becoming a part of, but I was the department manager for the crystals. And so my displays, my write ups, and everything, people would come to me, to learn, information on crystals. And we were carrying pendulums, and I got fascinated with pendulums. And I'm looking to see, and for a while there, I was making, because I was into beading. I got really into beading, so I was making beaded jewelry. And once I got into crystal magic, I started making prayer beads for specific goddesses. They were all one of a kind. My pendulums, all made by hand, with all my crafting tools, wire wrapping. Everything was all unique. It was original. There was not one that was the same. I have one of those still left over in my collection that I didn't sell. And I would always make sure that I had at least a natural gemstone, and that would be turquoise. And then I have a carved glass. I think
Oh,
I
that's
think it's a
nice.
glass. I don't think it's, but this here is also like azurite. So all the wire wrapping and stuff was all done by hand. I bought the chain. So for me, um, this was my joy. I still want to use pendulums. However, I'm learning to, because I'm finding that my pendulum readings aren't quite as accurate as my tarot and my oracle. And so I'm learning to maybe learn how to word my questions, try to be more
Mm.
specific, and
Do you
and
think
they've
it's a
gotten
fair
better.
comparison? It's a fair comparison to the reading that you would get from a pendulum versus an oracle or tarot? Are you
But
being too hard on yourself with that? I think
no,
that's the direction of the question because
well, I keep track of, in the past with the pendulum. Sometimes, I the message, the answers pan out. Um, but I don't know. For me, it because a lot of times, from what I hear too, you gotta be careful with pendulum because you gotta make sure you hold it right. Because I do see people sometimes just grabbing the pendulum, and they're
mm,
going, "Well, I'm getting," and their hands are moving. I mean, it's got
right.
to be steady. You got to be, centered, and I gotta make sure that my protections are in place so that I don't have any trickster or negative energies or anything else influencing the energy, the readings that are coming through the pendulum. I have to make sure that I'm grounded, and I do pull out the pendulum for like certain when I do tarot or oracle. If I want to kind of like, especially too with investigative tarot, if I want to ask a card, or if I'm reading for somebody, is this for the person I'm reading on? It'll let me give me an answer, and I'll be like, okay, I won't go too in depth, but I do more like short, quick answers, questions with them. So I'm developing that, you know, as I
Mm.
go. But I still love my pendulums. Um, I have an opalite one that I dedicated to Mother Mary because she's still part of my, my spiritual path. I attached like a little feather to it. So, yeah, I know I say a lot. I'm sorry.
So do I. I say a lot, I say that a lot.
but yes, and
Yeah. Other than cartomancy and pendulums, anything else that you practice, you use for divination? Anything that you would like to start learning about in terms of other divination tools?
well, I did try getting into the runes because of like crystals and stones, but um, I didn't connect. I might later on. I do have Kristen Louise's oracle deck that she uses with the runes, so it's nice. It's kind of like I have, and I found out about 4 or 5 years ago that I actually have Scandinavian ancestry. So a lot of um, those runes are now probably like connected to my early ancestors from there. So I'm exploring that a little bit. But for me, it's just I'm really focusing on my tarot to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got a new book that people have been seeing me use, especially today. Anything with
Yeah.
art, I love because this is who I
And
am.
colors.
Color,
Uh-huh.
and I want to start doing also when we were able to move and we get a proper space. Um, I have been wanting to do like soul color paintings where I just kind of close my eyes um, and just kind of or just kind of like if I were to looking at you right now, the
Mm-hmm.
colors, I'm not seeing them physically around you, but I'm kind of feeling and seeing the color pink is popping in. And I'm seeing a little bit like a lime green. I'm seeing a little bit of a soft orange. So whenever colors like that, I would do a painting, an abstract painting,
Mm-hmm.
using those colors and kind of doing kind of like a color portrait, so to speak. So um, that's something I want to explore further down when I have proper space,
Okay.
proper studio space and stuff.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, bring just my art is such a part of me, and my music and my writing that they enhance each other, because when I get my decks, um, I know one of the questions that you sent was, what makes me, pick a deck? What kind of decks do I like? And it's really sometimes it's hit and miss. Like I didn't think I would like the Hush Tarot. Some of the cards were pretty, but then when I saw them being used more, and then I finally got the deck, I fell in love with them. Some decks that I've gotten in the past, I don't really resonate with them anymore. So it's however the cards speak to me. And but these days now I make sure that I watch playthroughs, because in the past when I first started I bought a lot of decks without really looking at playthroughs. I just see a couple of cards and think, oh, I got to get that deck, and so I've become more disciplined that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's over time you learn to discern. And I've been in that position that I see a deck and I love it. I'm fascinated with the topic, the cards, and everything. But then I see that one card that for me is a deal breaker.
Which one is
You
that?
know, well, like for example, it's happened with several decks, but there was this circus theme tarot deck that I saw, beautifully made. I loved like everything until I got to the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands had two elephants tied. I just didn't like the representation of animals, and I
Yeah,
don't know
they'd
the
hurt.
the
That's
way.
what they did at the circus.
Yeah,
They'd hurt the
it
animals.
is.
They
It
did.
is. But I wish that maybe that wasn't part of the
Hmm.
energy of the card.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because for the Four of Wands is more about celebration, is happiness.
And that's not.
But the way it was depicted, it was totally the opposite.
Hmm.
That for one, and the other one, just the depiction of animals. I'm very sensitive to that.
Me too.
So just that one card was a deal breaker. And it was a pity because the style and everything was
Hmm.
fascinating. But c'est la vie. Um, so in terms of do you have a significator card? Is there that one card that you identify with that you say this is me, or at least at this moment?
There's two of them.
Oh, two
I've
significators.
I love. I mean, I don't go to when I do readings for myself. I don't go looking in the deck for them,
Mm-hmm.
um, unless I have something really specific I need to look at. But I've always liked that first day in high school, that high priestess, and it's so funny because when I was 9 or 10, I wanted to be Princess Leia for Halloween, and I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And
Uh-huh.
so my mom wrapped my hair, and I had my sister's wedding gown that she had made um, for her first marriage, and it was just a simple white, like her dress was white, and it had the white hood.
Hmm.
Well, my mom decided to go a little, overboard. I looked pretty, but when you look at the picture, I'm not. I look more like a high priestess. So
Hmm.
already even back then, and I still have the picture of it. It's not really super clear, but I still have the picture. But she had, on my head, like a band on my head, my ear, I mean everything, and I just found it really interesting that kind of those signs right there early on, and then going into high school, and the first card I was drawn to, and yes, Tom, in the Thoth deck, was the High Priestess. And so after that, I was always drawn to the High Priestess cards of the moon. Sometimes they were depicting swans. So for me, High Priestess. But then within the last, I think, couple months or so, I've really fallen in love with the Queen of Wands, especially with the Black Kitty, because I have
Oh,
fur
Snuffles.
babies, Snuffles. And with the
Uh-huh.
Queen of Wands, she's also very artistic. So for me, the Queen of Wands represents my love of my Black kitties, of my fur babies, and the creative, the creativity, the artist, that's connected with the wands. And so for me, it feels like it balances both, like the Queen of Wands. So I'm a Sag and an Aries rising, so the Queen of Wands, is kind of like my fire card, and then my High Priestess is the water, and I have a Pisces moon. So it just, for me, those are two cards that I really love. Empress, not really, because that's more of like a mother, nurturing kind of energy, and I never wanted to be a mom, so I don't have that energy there. For me, it's always been about, the High Priestess, and now, the creative, Queen of Wands. So yeah.
Hmm. Very good. Very interesting. So now that you have, certain experience with tarot, what will be your advice for people who are starting in this path?
To get a regular Rider Waite deck, or yeah, RWS deck that shows
Hmm.
the pentacles, that shows, because there's a lot of beautiful decks out there that I kind of gravitated towards without, and I'm looking going, well, where's this? So sometimes it's like you really need to at least get the foundations. I am not going to tell people they need to do uprights, reversals, because me, I really don't do reversals. It's too much information for me. I
Hmm.
could just retain so much, and so I'll pull extra cards to kind of clarify, other cards in a spread. Um, but for me, it's just like learning the basics, getting a basic deck, and from there, allow, look at the book, get a little bit of a feel, but make sure that you build that connection, that that language with the deck, um, because when you start using that deck, your intuition will come in and maybe open up more in that image, or bring other situations or scenarios. Because for me, the tarot is started so long ago, and it was created at a time where, Christianity, a lot of the mythologies, the dogmas and stuff surrounding all that time is so incorporated in that time frame. And it's that now that we're going into the 21st century, now that we're in the 21st century, a lot of the images really do need to be kind of reworked. And so there are decks now where, creators are approaching their decks from people that are inclusive. There's different, not every deck has all just white people in it. There's decks now, not that there's wrong with that, I just want to put that out there, but there are decks now where, if you know that you're going to be reading to a larger group of people, you have, like the Unfolding Path, beautiful inclusivity of, there's a gay male couple in there, there's female couple in there, there's, there's black, there's white, there's Asian, I mean, it's just a beautiful mix of different ethnicities. Same with Kristen Louise's Star Room deck. Um, just such beautiful inclusivity in her decks. And so, but each deck has, you know, a purpose. I mean, I have decks where I really try to only use for like when I do investigative tarots. There are only decks that I will use for that reading, unless I'm doing a reading. I need to do a reading for somebody, and the cards that I have aren't resonating with the right energy, and I'll have to go and look. And sometimes I'll have to grab it from another, you know. So for me, I gravitate towards the energy of a card for a person's question. And sometimes I don't even think about it. I'm sitting there, I go, oh, boom, and my hands just automatically going and grabbing for the deck. So sometimes it's automatically, you don't even think about it, and your spirit's guiding you right there to your. So yeah, and I've been gained a lot too, which has been very interesting. Is I've been having um, people come through for spirit communication through the cards,
Mm,
and that's happened several times now, and I feel like that's the nudge that I'm getting pushed towards, and it feels good when I know that I've given a message to somebody that's not really vague, but to them they understand it and they're like, yes. They won't go into detail, which is okay. That's fine. It's personal, but at least when they're in the chat, they'll be like, yes, Heather, I understand this. Yes, this resonates. So that really does help, and it's been encouraging me to trust more in that aspect of myself, you know, and that ability.
interesting. Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's very interesting that a lot of decks nowadays are much more representative of today's society, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the new innovations, is if that's the right word, in terms of tarot decks. But we also
Mhm.
have another aspect. We have AI decks. What are your thoughts on AI? First of all, AI art. Is there a place for AI art in tarot decks? And what do you think of decks that are already out there that use AI for depiction of images?
So,
First, let's start first with it. Do you consider AI art art? Yes, no, and why?
yes, no, because now to me it is art. It's another form. We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago with Jeff, Tom, and I, and Gerald had joined us. We have to kind of look at, yeah, well, as anything, I know there's a lot of fear out there about the bad things that AI can do, and yes, that's granted, that's warranted. But then you look at the positive aspects of it. Now, for me, I do know, like on Etsy, there are a lot of sellers who are just popping it out just to make decks to make money, and some of the images are beautiful, but sometimes they're a little soulless to me.
Hmm.
Um, so this is kind of a touchy situation, you know. So, like at the turn of the century, when like Alfred Stieglitz suggested photography is a form of art, and people are like, "Excuse me, just a quick picture of something is not art. How is that art?" And that was that technology back then. And look where we are now with photographs, our phones, pictures, beautiful
Mm-hmm.
photography done over the years. And so now we're moving into another realm where um, graphic art. Now, for me, I prefer having real, actual art materials. Um, I would love to be able to learn, you know, graphic art. However, for me, that's something that was just never really easy for me to learn. I have a friend, Christine, who is an incredible artist, you know, with the actual physical material, but the art she can create on her tablet is amazing. I mean, so that medium was able to help her bring out those artistic skills of hers, while helping her not, as she kind of sees it, wasting paper or spending money, because now she has a family, and so it's just it's that personal preference, you know. We're all going to have our our feeling, our emotion to something. I'm trying to figure out how to put this into words. What resonates? I know that's a word that, you know, we use a lot in our community. Um, there, like I said, there are some decks that are just, to me, don't feel like anything. I mean, it's AI art, and there's going to be people just popping that out there just to make money and not really care about the tarot,
Hmm.
or the history or the process of learning. Now, with the deck that I just got, this one here, the
Yeah,
artist
put you on the
is,
big screen.
oh, even bigger.
Yes.
Oh no.
Hold on.
Oh.
Let's see. Go ahead.
So Jennifer got together with Yoshino, and Yoshino is a graphic artist himself, and he didn't go into a lot of detail, but he did use, from what I understand correctly from the book, his art in cooperation with the A art. They really got together, sat, thought out, how do we want to ask these questions? How can we use this technology, this medium, forward to advance tarot, to advance our spirituality? And what's beautiful is in the book, after each card, they give you something called Imagine. And what I love is that the deck is also used to help people foster their own personal creativity. If people remember the book The Artist's Way, where people got stuck and they really couldn't, got into a creative rut, didn't know how to get the creative, juices flowing again. Um, I can't think of her name offhand, but The Artist's Way, people really used that book, and her prompts and her lessons really inspired people to start working, getting back into the act of creating. And so this is what they're doing with this deck and in this book, is that they'll say imagine, and they'll offer prompts. They'll ask you, how do you feel about this card? Um, Paint something, create something, write something, journal something, look at, and they mention artists to look at. They mention writers to look at. They mention sometimes film, I believe, in a couple of them. So it's an artist using and exploring the new technology to create these decks, while encouraging people to make their own physical art as well, and not just relying on the card itself. So for me, this is very different than what a lot of AI decks are now on the market. So
Hmm.
this one here I can get behind. But my big pet peeve is the bootleg decks. Please be careful when you buy your decks, and make sure that, on Temu, please, not Temu. When you're on
AliExpress, eBay,
AliExpress,
and
even
you can tell by the
Amazon.
price. Yeah, the
Yes,
price,
even
usually the
Amazon.
dimensions of the deck.
So for me, I have more of an issue with that than I do
Hmm.
with the AI art, and some people, being complicit with it and saying, "Oh, I can't afford the deck, so I'm just going to get these for now, and I'll pay, buy the regular." No, because being an artist, you know, I wouldn't want my artwork stolen and reproduced, and it's just, and if you're doing something spiritual, whether you believe that the cards, the paper itself, some people say, oh, it's just paper, it's just images, maybe, but you are doing something that's very deeply spiritual for a person, or at least to me,
Hmm.
that's what the reading should be about. One of my little pet peeves with, and I'll talk about this on, about my channel, is that I don't do third party. And my ethics are different than everybody else's. We all have our own, but there are a lot of, like, channels and stuff outside of our community, where I see so many people wanting dirt, pull cards in the open, on media, on YouTube live, dirt about people, and them saying, just awful language and things and stuff, from where, yes, you want to make money, but to me, tarot is, and I know this was one of your questions, tarot is, for me, something that comes from a spiritual place, and it's a place to help grow. It's not fortune telling. For me, it's about the energy at the moment, and the advice that you can give somebody, but making sure that that individual knows that only they can follow through with it, that these are just how the energies are presently at the moment. And to a certain degree, we have free will in most cases. to be able to make that change moving forward with our lives. And some of the recent, how do I say this? I've just noticed a lot too sometimes that some people keep coming back, kind of asking for card readings for every single thing. Like some people are almost kind of afraid to make a move or a decision of their own without being able to trust in themselves. It's like they can't do something without having a card pull, um, or just relying sometimes too much for all the answers from the cards or the reader. Whereas for me, a reading is, let's look at the energy. This is what it is right now. And how can we take this energy, this information that the universe is giving us to be able for us to take into our lives, and for to give us the power to empower ourselves and to make the changes in our lives that are needed.
Hmm.
Oh, let me mute myself.
All right. And yeah, and that this is a case of Heather made me do it. I actually there's a couple of people around
Mm-hmm.
in our community who's got this deck, and I got this one today. I haven't been able to open it today. I had a crazy day, but I've seen a couple of walkthroughs, and I know how much you love it, and I just had to get it. It is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful,
Well, I
and
have
the thing with
issues with it, but I
do
love the
you
art.
like what like what?
Well, the cards are rather big. The cards are rather thick. There's a really sticky, like plastic coating on them. Makes it
Hmm.
hard for me to
I,
shuffle. They stick. That
I
drives me
haven't
nuts.
even opened it. I haven't even taken it from the plastic yet.
Yeah,
Literally, at this, I'm just opening it here in camera.
and I would have liked for them to maybe less all this excess border here could have been to me more of
Yeah.
the image blown up,
Mm-hmm.
and
That I
but
agree.
actually the work, the art itself, but it is very involved, and a lot too with this is that sometimes you can just pull one card and just
Hmm.
study it and look at it. And for me, what it does for me personally is it kind of helps, kind of like that spiritual pareidolia, I guess you can say, where you see, or scrying, where you look into an image and sometimes you'll see something else, or it'll trigger a thought or an image or a message that may not necessarily be the core of the card, but is helping you give an answer to, you know,
Two
the
of
question.
Pentacles.
So for me, it helps. And with me being an artist and loving color, these are just really, really beautiful.
They're
So
really nice. Now that I'm looking,
but
look at
they stick.
this Six of Pentacles. Look how beautiful. Like you can even see like the paint right there.
Hmm.
Of course, it's not really paint, but
Well, he says he includes some of his own art, some of his digital, but he really didn't go into, how much. But
that's
he
my
wanted
favorite card.
the
The
tower.
Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in this deck, but it's beautiful, and I see what you're saying. It would have been nicer. I don't know.
Good night, Miss
I
Tarot D.
Good night, Miss Haroldy. I normally don't like cards with borders, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel it works. It works here on this one.
I'm
I mean, it
tempted to
works on
take
it.
a black Sharpie and just go along the white edge just to get rid of some of that white. And then Shannon was like,
Hmm.
"No, you're gonna damage your cards. You don't do that."
I mean, you can trim
So,
them. Yeah, but
I don't have
it's
a
gonna be
proper
a
trimmer either. I would
yeah, it's
have
gonna
to
be a project.
someone to do that for me, and I don't have anybody around here that's a good trimmer that would probably feel comfortable with me, because where I'm at, I'm the black sheep in the family, really. When it comes to this stuff, it's they're like, yeah, Heather, whatever, just don't talk about it. All right, so it's okay. We all have our own.
So, in terms of when you're using your divination tools, do you think we're tapping into a spiritual realm, or are we tapping into like some type of universal energy?
I think a little bit of all both,
Hmm.
because you are part of source and you're connecting to source, And so I think it's like a web. It's all woven together. And so yeah, I mean, for me personally, I believe in we have a higher self too. Over kind of looking as this is one of the things I learned when I was in Arizona, taking my classes about energy bodies, and we have several of them, and including a higher self. And so, for me, when I do readings, I am making sure that before I start, I call in Archangel Michael to keep me safe and protected from any and all or negative energies or entities that might be drawn to my light during my readings to help me keep grounded. I ask my Archangel, my guardian angel, Jophiel. I ask her to help me keep grounded and keep me, try to keep me separated from ego interfering with the reading. And, my Archangel Oriel to help me be a clear channel, to better my
Mm-hmm.
abilities and be a clear channel so that I get my messages, through. So that's the small little ritual that I have. I burn my Palo Santo. And so for me, once I know my protections are in place, then it's like, okay, what is the energy? Or if I have someone wants a specific person in spirits, or even if not, like I said, I don't do third party readings. I will not read on somebody who we don't have permission to read on. um,
Mm-hmm.
I ethically can't do that because I don't have their permission, but I can look at an energy around you know that person that's asking with this individual book. I won't go into their, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes, for a personal, me, when I do my personal reads, now if someone's going to, may say something, I'm like, well, they said this to me, or this is out there, then I'm going to pull cards on this because people would like to say, well, investigative tarots, aren't you reading into? And I'm saying, no, I'm looking at the energies. I'm trying to focus more on the person that is missing or has passed. What messages can they give me, or spirit? What messages will spirit allow me to come through information wise with the cards? To me, that's very different than going, oh hell no, Darius ain't cheating on me. Let's pull, what I mean. I see you're looking at, but I've seen people, who get really that do the readings and they talk. We've all seen them,
Mm-hmm.
on those channels
Oh
on there. I'm
yeah,
not saying
all the
we get at
time.
an hour in our community,
Mm-hmm.
but and there are some readers in our community that will have some leeway into asking about certain people, but like again, our ethics are all different, so it's just what feels right for you. Hmm.
Yeah. So we have a comment here from Tom. These are
Uh oh.
questions that will get me in trouble. Tom, you're gonna get your turn, and I'm actually crafting questions just for you. So you'll get your day. Just saying.
Yes.
All right.
But I learned
So
so much from Tom too, and he
yeah.
sees things so much
Mm-hmm.
differently than most of us do. But he offers a
He
perspective that,
Yeah, he and I think it very very similar in a lot of things. So it's gonna be very interesting to chat with him. But yeah, I love your conversations with him.
with him and Jeff, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff too, definitely, and
Hmm.
Allison and everybody who you have in your show, Nancy and everyone. So, what are your thoughts on reincarnation?
Oh, I believe in it. Now,
You do.
exactly how it
Hmm.
works, that's we won't really know until, like we said last time, we won't know until we get there. But
Hmm. Have
I
you used
believe,
tarot or divination tools to explore?
it's hard because for me, unless you're really developed psychically and can really go into the records or really see into a person's past life. For me, I don't have that strong of an ability, and I really don't have any cards, or I really haven't seen any cards that could really give me, you know, a reading. So for me, it would have to be somebody. I mean, I can ask maybe for a card and see what the images might represent, like with the AI, that one we just pulled out or had out.
What
Someone
what
might have
are they
asked me.
lacking?
I
What are
mean,
they lacking? that you feel doesn't let you connect or explore it?
A deck that is large enough where it can cover, I mean, reincarnation. This can go all the way back and, to Lemuria or even before that into other star systems. So I really don't know of a deck that could encompass enough variation of, I mean, and there's different centuries and there's different time period. I mean, there's just so much, you know, I mean, how can you fit that into, you know, a card? So for me, I haven't really seen any decks that I feel like I could really use. And yet, like again, somebody who may use cards may be also intuitively or strongly tapped into spirit that can maybe bounce off an idea of the card, um, if that makes sense. But there really
Mm.
is. I mean, I've looked online a couple times. I'll keep looking here and there to see if there's a deck for like reincarnation for maybe past life readings, and there's just really
I know there's a
it,
couple
it
oracles
doesn't really,
around.
to me there doesn't really seem to be one that really can encompass enough time periods, or even eras.
Mm-hmm.
I just go by feel. I've had Scott Allen Spiritual Essence gave me a Akashic reading, Allison as well, and he touched on some stuff that resonated with what somebody else had told me when I was younger, but also resonated with things that I started kind of learning and discovering, and I was connecting to when I was in Arizona. So I feel that, I mean, and I've had dreams. People know I've talked about this on my channel where and people laugh, oh, everybody says they were on the Titanic, but no, I have had dreams and visions of things that I mean, I was looking for books on this when I was like in what, second grade. I was only like what, 8 or 9 years old, and I was being drawn to the ship. So there's so many things that I know that I had, a past life on, with that ship. And so for me, I know reincarnation is real. And another cool story is when I was younger, I almost drowned, and my brother had to, apparently had jumped in the pool to get me out. Had realized I had gone under, and I had seen myself floating underneath the water. I wasn't scared or anything. I was very calm. I was just like, oh, look, there's me, kind of like feeling. And what? Oh my goodness, sorry. I have a cat in here and the door is closed. Let me give her some attention. Um, so, yeah, this is my
Let's
Ziva. Um,
let's see the kitty.
this is Ziva. Everyone's used to seeing
Mm.
Mozzie, but this is Ziva. This is my 16-year-old mama. She's a diva.
16.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 14, 15, that friend of my mom who gave me that reading, she had looked at me and said, she goes, well, you want to know why you're connected to Egypt so much? She goes, you had a past life there. She says, you were a princess, but you were murdered by your brother. He drowned you. And then I later on, it clicked with me, because then I was like, wait a minute, in this life, my brother saved me. So for me, it feels to me, it validates it. So, yeah, I'm going to just leave for just a second, Ramon, so I can put her out of the room, or else she's going to be making
Okay,
chaos in here.
no
So let me
problem.
just put her away. Excuse me, everybody. Oh,
All right. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Let's see. Miss Moonlight has an interesting one. You should never doubt what nobody is sure about. This quote explains perfectly what I think about reincarnation. Exactly. I think it's a personal experience, right? It's hard to say no. That experience that you had is not
mhm.
right. It's only you can feel it, only you can understand it and internalize it, right?
Yep.
And you're back.
So yeah, reincarnation, I believe in. Sometimes I wonder if it might be just us tapping into another individual's memories that makes us think we had a past life there. that because
Mm.
there's so many souls that are in the universe, and we're all connected on ways that we don't even understand, um, mentally, to be able to comprehend the way the universe works. That was also another possibility that I thought of, is maybe when we have these dreams or we have these memories, is that perhaps we are tapping into somebody in our energetic field, maybe a loved one, or maybe somebody else, where we all kind of, like the Akashic records, who knows, maybe some of our past life memories come from maybe visiting the records and maybe experiencing somebody else's life. Who knows? I mean, that's always been a possibility, to me too. So, like I said, we won't know until we get to the other side.
Definitely. It's the same with alternate universes, right? Do you
Hmm.
believe that there might be parallel universes to us?
Oh, it's
Other Heathers?
possible. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be scary.
Why?
Just, I don't know. For me, one Heather is enough, but I think, you know it's possible. Um,
Can we tap into those minds as well? Or those energies?
to be honest, I don't know, because I don't have that ability. So my
Mm,
experience, like someone else could be here and say, "Oh yeah, I can." It's very true. It's very, that's my. For me, I can't say. For me, it's just like, um, anything is possible. You
mm.
know.
Let me ask you this, because this is a topic that I recently was thinking about. Let's say you believe in alternate universes, right?
Hmm.
There's other Heathers out there with different, life experiences and etc. Believing in the soul, do you think y- the soul of that Heather is the same soul of yours and all the multiple Heathers in the multiple universes?
Well, we know we're all like a crystal. We all have many facets.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people say that when we ask to speak, let's say to a loved one, I want to speak to my grandma. They're like, yeah, she's here, but she's also reincarnated. She's already here on Earth, but that essence of her is still able to communicate, even though she may be in a different body. That's possible. There isn't anything really that's out there that I really that I can flat out say nope, except for like the Matrix movie being plugged into a machine, like that was scary. The
Mm.
concept, the kind of like the principle of being in a matrix, or I mean, some people physically really believe that we are, um,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody's perception is different. We all have different souls, so some of our souls, because yes, I do believe in souls in other planets, other universes, galaxies. To think that we're the only intelligent life in the whole expansive universe. Yeah, that's no. So somebody may be able to experience those realms because they're from another star system or another planet. I mean, this is just, you kind of go down that rabbit hole, and there's just so many possibilities that open up, because we really, the scientists keep saying that we have very little use of our brains that we've explored, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so much potential that hasn't been tapped, that who knows, maybe with the use of AI, virtual reality, maybe some one of those technologies might be able to help us open up pathways, neurons or something, where we start to experience more abilities that seem superhuman to others. So people can really move things with their mind, or they can um, do complex math equations, or they're able to um, build a great pyramid. You know what I mean? It's just
Mm-hmm.
they said that there's so very little of our brains that we use, and what I'm curious about is why our brains all shut down. Was there something that happened in our evolution where we had to have a real major reset because of a world already destroyed? I mean, I believe in Atlantis. I believe in Lemuria, other civilizations. Why people think it's so far fetched, still in society that it's just myth. It's fable. It's beyond me. Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's very possible that
That's an interesting thought. Maybe a trauma that we experienced collectively in the past that, as a mechanism of defense, biologically, we shut a lot of our capacities from our brain.
hmm and
That's
there are those
interesting.
people too that believe that we were created as a slave race for the Anunnaki.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
I
people
heard
who are
that.
behind
Hmm.
that. And by looking at you know the ballad or the stories of Gilgamesh and all that, anything is possible. It's just really interpretation and personal people's personal experiences. um, and it very may well be that because we did get so aggressive at one point, or something that happened, that maybe when we were genetically altered, that part of those parts of our brains were shut down. And I know this seems very woo woo, but we are a woo woo community. I'm
Hmm.
not even really liking the word woo woo anymore, because it almost kind of like um we're like making fun of ourselves. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like people don't already take a lot of this seriously by us kind of calling it woo woo. I sometimes wonder if we're um being detrimental, still to these teachings and what we learn and who we are. And so sometimes I wonder about the woo woo comment, but that's for another whole conversation topic. But yeah, I'm just very. I mean, our pineal glands. They said that that's where the DMT, where we have our connection to spirit and us being able to access other realms. Why do so many of us have it shut down, closed down? And some of the things that I've heard is because of the things that in the foods that we eat, the medications that we take, like a
Hmm.
crust or a buildup goes around it. And once we start learning how to eat better, drink better, take better care of ourselves, that and through meditation and connecting with spirit and our guides, and being in the right place. I think too, for us to maybe to develop a lot of our abilities, is that we have to make sure that we're in a space where um, we won't use it for harm.
Hmm.
That if we want certain abilities or expect this huge, what they call ascensions or assimilation or whatever, or expansion of who we are as a species or even individually, that we have to be at a place where we're grounded enough, we're spiritually grounded, we're spiritually moral, whereas that having that type of awakening, that kind of opening and use of our brains, um, that would probably have a lot of well, I can't think of the words tonight, Ramon. Um, but just making sure that we have the proper integrity, respect for it, and that we would use it, for good and not for evil. And there
Hmm.
again, people are like Tom would say, well, what constitutes you? So
Hey,
again,
what is evil?
you have the balance. You have to have
Uh-huh.
the balance, because he goes, well, so for me, I think there's just a lot of responsibility, and maybe our bodies aren't even capable yet of being able to handle the type of energy or information, like in that Indiana Jones movie, The Crystal Skull, where she was like, "I want to know everything." Oh, you want to know everything? And they just started filling her mind to the point where her mind opened up so much she couldn't handle it, and she just ceased to exist. I mean, so maybe we need to really start working on. She was coming from a place where she wanted to use it to harm, to have control over, power over. It was more of that aggressive, warlike perspective. Whereas maybe we could, if we start learning more compassion, empathy, and being grounded and doing it for the right reasons, for the good of all, maybe that's when some of us will start expanding more. But who
Hmm.
knows?
Yep,
Who knows?
definitely. Yeah. So we're at an hour and 15 minutes
Ooh,
already.
oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God. No, it's that's fine. We're heading towards the end of the show. Let me ask you a lighter question. If
Okay.
you could have a tarot reading with any historical figure, present, past, future, who would it be?
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Why?
because he wrote quatrains. He was a poet. He
Mm-hmm.
was a writer, and I just find him. There's just something about him I find fascinating. I had seen that question before, and I was thinking, you know, I know people were saying, Marie Lenormand and all, but I don't know. There's just Nostradamus is kind of like the one who really started to put himself out there with his writings. Um, so yeah, that might change as I study more and I learn more. Or actually, another person just jumped into my mind. Depending on what incarnation, um, the priestess the priest of Egypt, Thoth.
Hmm.
That might be an interesting, yeah, between the
Hmm.
two, yeah, because I still have
Hmm.
that connection with ancient Egypt. So he's been coming more into my periphery lately, with just showing on TV and talking and things and stuff. So I'm having a little bit of an interest, not in the
Interesting.
tarot. I mean deck
Uh-huh.
that's associated with Crowley, but with just Thoth himself, with the Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, he was the god responsible for writing as well.
yeah, of a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things, among a lot of
Math,
things, but
art,
writing,
science,
I'm thinking
hmm
about you as a
geometry.
poet and Toph
Hmm.
as writing, responsible for writing. So, what upcoming projects do you have for your channel in the near future that you want to share with us?
Well, I'm almost done with the Queen's Chamber,
Uh
talking
huh.
about Egypt. Shan and I were watching something on the pyramids, and they were talking about the King and Queen's Chamber, which of course there was no Queen and King's Chamber. It was for
Mm-hmm.
totally something else. But then I thought to myself, because court cards are one of my more challenging aspects of tarot, I've gotten a lot better. But I said, well, let's explore them individually. How can I do this creatively? When I was watching, I was like, boom, Queen's Chamber. There we go. There's the Queens. There's a King's Chamber. Boom, let's do a King. And so at some point, I want to do the others and maybe call it holding court, visiting, having people guests join me, and we talk about pages and knights and princes and princesses, just so that because we're always learning, and people in chat share their knowledge, and then they can learn from us. And so I just want to keep trying to be as creative with my channel, because the more creative I am with doing different shows and having different people join me, it allows me to have a better understanding of tarot and to develop my own language. Oh, by
Mm-hmm.
the way, too, is that I was told that I do have a light language. JJ from Tuta Speaks worked with me a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, and I started noticing a little bit here and there, some light language starting to come through, and I'm thinking that might start to develop more too this year. So
Hmm.
um, I don't know if you've ever heard of light language, but um,
No.
so look it up. I'll talk to you.
Now
I'll
you're
talk to
doing
you.
that to me.
I'll talk
Now
to
you're
you
doing that
after.
to me, and
But
in public,
light language is
and in
basically
public.
channeling.
Uh,
It's a different language. It's the way
right.
JJ Tuda Speaks does it. It's really beautiful, and there are other people in our community, Karen, that does it, and some other people are starting. Feeds are starting to come into my YouTube where, um, so yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
So
it's
now
fascinating.
we're gonna, yeah. So we're gonna do a game, and this is this or that question. I'm gonna give you 10 different situational questions, and you will choose between two cards. I have to say these questions are brand new.
Woohoo!
I I done this game on all the in orbit shows,
Second.
and up to now I've been using the same questions, but these are brand new just for you. All right,
Woohoo!
you ready?
I feel so special.
All right. Let me change the screen, or maybe I can do it this way. All right. Question number one: you're running late for an important meeting. Would you rather draw the Chariot for quick transportation to the meeting, or the Knight of Swords for speedy communication to excuse yourself?
See, I'm responsible. I would take the chariot. I like to keep my appointments when yeah. So yes, I
The
would take the
chariot it
chariot.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Number 2, you're hosting a party. Did I freeze?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. All right. Let me come back. All
Tom, what
right.
did you do? No.
I know. No, that was Miss Tarot D. Just keep the show going while I'll come back, okay?
Sure. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I hope it wasn't, I haven't been too redundant because a lot of y'all know my story. So thank you for all being here. There are things I'll probably think about wanting to share afterwards, but I'm just really honored to have that Ramon would think this highly of me, to have me on his channel. Um, I haven't been able to keep up with chat. Hi, Scott. So we have Scott here. Of course, Miss Moonlight. Um, the fluoride. Yes, Allison. They talk about the fluoride. Um, I was using a non-fluoride toothpaste. It really wasn't doing much. But yeah, it was way before his time. Yep, me too. People like that. I'm inspired, Allison. Yes, that's why so many. These are just great topics of conversation, because it just gives me. Well, Ramon was asking what I want to do moving forward in my channel. I definitely want to keep doing the conversations because you helped. Bring well we co-created conversations that can be held on my shows on Saturdays with Allison, or on another evening. So I think the more we talk, the more we share, that opens us up too. It broadens our imagination, and we can tap into
Mm-hmm.
that. And yeah, I love that.
All right.
All right,
Question number 2.
two.
Question number 2. You're hosting a party and the snacks run out. Would you rather draw the Empress for endless abundance or the Magician to conjure more snacks?
Well, wait a minute. What would be the Empress? Oh,
For
abundance.
endless abundance.
Um, let's do endless abundance because abundance can be happiness and joy and nourishment and food. Because if I go to conjure snacks, Allison probably won't want to stay because she doesn't like candy. She doesn't, no sugar. So if I want her at the party, I'll have to make sure that we have to be careful of the snacks. But
All right.
oh, that was a fun one. I like both of them. I like both answers,
Right?
both
Okay.
cards. Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Question number 3. Your pet parrot starts repeating your embarrassing secrets in front of guests. Which card would you draw? The Hierophant to train the parrot in better manners, or the Fool to embrace the chaos?
I am not a fan of the Hierophant, so let's go with the Fool.
You will embrace the chaos from your secrets being spread out to your guests?
Yeah,
You sure?
I don't
What
have
about the
well,
Oh, I guess the
well,
religious connotation.
yeah. For me, the Hierophant. Oh, I'm sorry about my squeaky chair tonight, but the Hierophant. Well, the Hierophant would probably be a better one because it'd be like there's some things I don't want to get out. But yet I love the Fool because the Fool is spontaneous. They're fun. They're carefree. It's got a little dog. Let's go with the Fool because I really, yeah.
All right.
Let's
Yeah,
be
just follow your
adventurous.
guts. Yeah,
Let's
just
let's
follow
be
your guts.
adventurous.
All right.
I'll
Let's
be my
have your
Sagittarius.
let's have your secrets spilled out then. All right. Question number 4. You are on a date and you realize that you've been talking with food on your teeth.
Oh, jeez.
Would you would you rather draw the Sun to outshine the embarrassment, or the Magician to make the food disappear?
Oh God, make the food disappear. Nobody wants to see with crap in their teeth. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Easy one.
Question.
Heather,
Question.
what Allison?
All right. Question number 5. You are at the beach and a seagull steals your sandwich. Would you rather draw strength to wrestle it back or the hangman to see things from the seagull's perspective?
Well, I doubt I could get a hold of a seagull with because he's got wings and he's flying away. So he's got the sandwich. So I might get sarcastic and say, I hope you choke on the damn thing, but no, I wouldn't do that. Who knows?
So,
Maybe he'll feed his family. I don't know.
so you're seeing it from the seagull's perspective.
Yeah, look at the hangman. Yeah.
All right. Ah, that was funny.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Question number 6. You accidentally sent a risky email to your boss instead of your friend. Would you rather draw the judgment card to get a second chance or the death card to make a quick career change?
Well, no matter what, my career is over. At least that job. Well, maybe it was meant to happen. Maybe I wasn't happy at that job, and accidentally sending it might have been the universe's way of finally saying, nope, get out of this job. It's time for a rebirth, for a change. So I'll go with the death card. Not
The
afraid of
death
the death
card
card.
to
Yeah.
make a career change.
Mm-hmm.
Good option. And that's a good
Good
reasoning
answer.
too.
Good answer. Like Family Feud.
There's no right or wrong question
Oh,
answers here.
share. I apologize.
All right, question number 7. Your computer crashes before you save your work. Would you rather draw the high priestess for hidden knowledge to recover it or the wheel of fortune for a stroke of luck?
Oh, the high priestess, because that's happened to me several times on StreamYard. I set up, I type, I get everything all in there, everything's all set up, and something goes glitchy, and I lose everything. I have to start all over again. So no, high priestess, we're gonna get that back. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's
Sounds good.
one of my cards, my high priestess.
There you go. There you
There
go.
you go.
Good answer. All right. Question number 8. You forget to mute yourself during a virtual meeting and you sing loudly. Would you rather draw the star to turn it into a talent show or the tower to shake things up, to shake up the meeting dynamics?
Well, I'd love to sing, so let's go for the. Well, they're kind of go both hand in hand because if you want to turn into a talent show, that might make people more relaxed and change the energy of the meeting for something better.
Hmm.
So for me, I don't know. I go with the star. Let's sing. Let's have some fun. Everybody knows I love to sing on my channel.
The
So
tower,
so it would be the tower.
I guess, right? No,
Well,
which one do you say?
no, I
The
like the
talent
star
show?
card. But yeah, we
The
could all
star.
do a talent show. We all get people. I got you to sing today. Sometimes when we do the Madonna, we got people in chat that start singing. So yeah, we'll just start singing.
The star.
It'll
All
be a
right, very
talent show.
good. All right. So, question number 9. You're lost in a new city with no map. Would you rather draw the world for a complete overview and understanding or the fool to enjoy the adventure of getting lost?
Oh, enjoy the adventure. I love to travel, and that might be my experience next year when we relocate. We're getting closer to being able to go to Oregon, so if I can't find the map, I'm like, well, let's just get in the car and start driving. It's yeah, I don't mind. I don't
There
worry
you
about
go.
that. I love to travel. Yeah, I
The
love being
adventure, right?
spontaneous. Oh my God, I'm a Sag. We love it.
That's why we get along so well. Geminis and Sagittarius are very compatible in friendship.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And question number 10. Your sweetie,
Oh,
your husband, your boyfriend, your sweetie
Okay.
Spills coffee on his favorite shirt before a big appointment, even though you warn him many times to be careful. Would you rather draw the emperor to command the stain out, or the hierophant to teach a valuable lesson in being
Oh,
careful?
the emperor. I'm like, you're not going out of the house with me looking like that. Mm-mm. Nope. Mm-mm. There are times
All
when I've
right.
gone out of the house and I'm like, you forgot to take the lint roller to your shirt, huh? I'm like, the cat was on your lap. So yeah, no. If I
All
can catch
right.
it before going, yeah, no, you're gonna change that shirt. Yeah, I told you.
I told you.
Now you're gonna. Yep.
That was question number 10. I have a bonus question for you.
Ooh, bonus
So,
round.
yes. So, you walk into a glass door in front of a crowd.
I've done
Would you
that.
rather? All right. So, for next time, then, would you rather draw the justice card to sue the door, or the world to make it a global meme?
Oh, oh, good lord. Oh, I really don't want it to be a world meme. So I'll have the justice. I mean, God.
Sue the door?
Oh my God, Ramon. Did you say soothe or sue?
Sue the door.
Oh my God. You know what? No, I'd have to go with the world card because I wasn't paying attention. I've done that.
So, the world card.
Yeah,
A
I,
global meme
I've
of
done that
you
before,
walking into the door.
and one of the things that I've done in the past too is what a couple times I played the Easter Bunny for for some kids in Niagara Falls, and because I had to take my glasses off and the mask was big, I couldn't really see. I was going down steps. The Easter Bunny fell. I fell
Oh,
like
really?
three or four. I did cook a tumble, and the kids were all like, "Oh no, the Easter Bunny fell!" You know. And so as I fell and landed, I had to, despite the pain, jump up and go, "Ah, ah, ah, silly oh me." So somebody might have that on video. This was going
Oh
back
my.
about 6 or 7 years, but that might be on video somewhere. You never know.
Oh, it's somewhere in this earth. It'll pop up
All you can
sooner or
do is
later.
laugh. All you can do. It's not like it's the end of the world. So,
You might
but
come
yeah.
across it in on YouTube someday, right?
Oh God, that would be his. Oh, I kind of wish somebody would have caught it because I was proud of myself. I might have fallen, but I jumped right up, and despite how much I was hurting, I was just kind of like, oh ha ha ha, silly oh me. And the kids were like, "Oh, I'm okay," and I'm like hugging all the kids, and we're laughing, and because some really thought the Easter Bunny hurt themselves.
Ah,
I did.
they'll never forget that. They'll always remember that.
No, I had a safe face and
You made
safe
a
face
good
for the Easter
you
Bunny.
you made an impression in their lives.
Yeah, I
All right,
stayed in
Heather.
character. Yeah.
Mm,
Yes.
it was awesome
It was
talking to you
fun.
today, getting
Thank
to
you.
know you a little bit more. Um, I want to say your channel is awesome. I love your
Oh, thank you.
energy.
Thank
And
you.
I want to say thank you very much for everything you do for the community. Your
Oh,
energy, sharing uh, your thirst for knowledge with people, you know, helping us see tarot and divination from different angles. It's really refreshing and awesome to have you among us. And
oh, thank you.
personally, you will always have my support. And
That means a lot.
I've been to your channel a lot of times, and I'm looking forward to many, many more.
All right. And thank you, everybody, to remote chat for letting me be who I am, letting me,
Yes.
focus on the art. I know some people prefer readings, readings, readings. And for me, they care, people care enough where they let me explore and express and have fun with who I am artistically, musically,
Hmm.
and everything. So,
Yes, you've been an inspiration, you know, and being
Well,
on your being on your shows of poetry, a lot of the poetry that I've written lately would have not existed if it wasn't because of your show. So I'm very grateful that, you know, it's you contacted me through one of the videos that I posted on poetry. I
mhm.
was like, oh, but who's gonna care about tarot and poetry? And you came,
Me and Jeff.
yeah,
Yep.
and you came into my life through that video, you know, and
Yes.
that, you know, it opened a door for me. So I'm very grateful to the universe for, you know, putting us together, uh
Same here.
putting putting me or you in our paths
Hmm.
and connecting.
I'm
You've
sure
been
we
a
had a past
blessing.
life together.
Maybe.
Fellow
All
students
right.
at a monastery. Who knows? At a
Who
nunnery. Who
knows?
knows? In the Egyptian, you know,
Possibly in
temples.
another
Yeah.
universe, in an
Or
alternate
another
universe.
universe. There
Who
you go.
knows?
Yes. But
All
yeah.
right. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, everybody, for
Yes.
being
Thank you,
here,
everybody.
for sharing your time with us. And I'm looking forward to see you all in Heather's channel
Hmm.
and in the future show of In Orbit With. And as always, thank you very much for watching and
Thank you.
blessings to all.
Bye. Bye.
Everybody,
Bye.
have a good night.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.